My top 10 for Division 1 FBS football goes as follows. And two teams in Arkansas and Oklahoma are out of my top 10 easily. Number 1 to me is Ohio State. Georgia is number 2. Alabama 3. Any order of those three, I'm fine with. If you want to disagree on that, that's fine. I keep Michigan at 4. Clemson at 5. Though Clemson looks vulnerable defensively in their secondary. Oklahoma State number 6, but you can make them down to 10 if you want. I put Utah in the top 10 at 7. Though you can make them a little bit lower, 7 through 12. That's about right where they should be. NC State number 8, Kentucky number 9, Tennessee number 10. Ole Miss to me is number 11. I would actually put Baylor in front of Oregon, but at 12. But you can make them vice versa. But it doesn't matter. I would put USC at number 14. I'm not sold on USC. I think I need to see more quality competition. And it doesn't happen this week, unfortunately, because Arizona State is a dumpster fire. Oklahoma has to drop to 15, obviously. Texas A&M went to 16 to me, which makes sense. And Arkansas lost, so I put them at 17. So that's just to name some teams that are on the outside looking in. But the AP poll, Georgia's number 1. Still number 1, despite that kind of close game to Kent State. Alabama's number 2. Ohio State's 3. Michigan 4. Clemson 5. USC number 6. Kentucky's moved up despite the close win. I don't know about that. But Tennessee number 8 makes sense. Oklahoma State number 9. Yeah, that makes sense. NC State number 10. I want to see more from Penn State. That's number 11. Utah is fine. Number 12. Oregon 13. Ole Miss 14. Washington 15. Baylor 16. Texas A&M 17. Oklahoma 18. BYU 19. Arkansas 20. Minnesota, that wasn't ranked, is now ranked number 21 because of that thrashing over Michigan State. Florida State is Wake Forest moved down one spot to number 22. They played a great game. It's just they couldn't get enough stops defensively. And they should have went for the first down instead of a touchdown in overtime period. So on the 4th down play. That's just my opinion. But whatever. Florida State's number 23. Pittsburgh is 24. Kansas State deserves to be ranked at number 25. Of course, Kansas is receiving votes now with 125. Cincinnati with 60. Florida with 56. Washington State 31 votes. Syracuse 22. Oregon State 16. Texas Tech 11. North Carolina 9. LSU 7. Tulane 3. UCLA 3. TCU with 1. And Texas is not even receiving a first place vote or a vote to be in the top 25. And they dropped out of top 25 just like Florida did and Miami, Florida did. So Miami, Florida got embarrassed against Middle Tennessee State. They deserve to be out of top 25 after that. The coaches poll, Georgia 1, Alabama 2, Ohio State 3, Michigan 4, Clemson 5, USC 6, Oklahoma State's number 7, Kentucky's number 8, Tennessee 9, NC State 10. Ole Miss is at 11, Penn State 12, Utah 13, Baylor's up to 14. I like this poll better in terms of Baylor standings. I'm not just saying that as a Baylor fan, but I'm just saying they deserve to be higher than 16. They're more of a top 15 team than me. Oregon number 15, Oklahoma 16, A&M 17, Washington 18, Arkansas 19, BYU 20, Wake Forest is 21, Florida State 22, Minnesota 23, Pittsburgh 24, Syracuse at number 25, but I'm surprised on the coaches poll they didn't put Kansas State as a ranked team, but whatever. Cincinnati's receiving 63 votes, Kansas with 59, Florida with 49, Texas Tech with 36, Kansas State with 30, Texas with 25, TCU 20, Michigan State 13, James Madison 11, Mississippi State 10, Air Force 8, Oregon State 7, UCLA 6, Washington State 4, LSU 4, Notre Dame 3, Iowa State 3, Maryland 2, and Coastal Carolina with 1 vote. Now, I'm going to go over all the top 25 games and where College Game Day is. First of all, College Game Day is headed to Clemson versus NC State. To me, Clemson has not faced a real defense. I think those offensive numbers are skewed because of the offenses they have played against so far. The defenses for Clemson has faced offensively are not good. Simply put. No offense, but it's the truth. And they did struggle with Georgia Tech a little bit too. So, as for that game, as of right now, Clemson's favored by 7. I'm taking NC State to cover, at least, because I think this game is a touchdown or less. I do believe that, and I think NC State could even outright beat them. So, I would at least take the points there. BYU versus Utah State. Utah State's been a disappointment so far, a little bit. They're favored by 24.5. Boys, BYU. They should win comfortably. Washington at UCLA. UCLA is not really a great home field advantage if you look at the crowds they've had recently and for the season so far. And UCLA is 4-0. Washington's 4-0. Washington's favored by 2.5. I think UCLA beats them. But who knows? Baylor versus Oklahoma State. Baylor is favored by 1.5. Here's the deal about Oklahoma State. They're number 71 in the country defensively, and they have not played against a top 70 defense. So I think those offensive numbers are a little bit skewed, to say the least. And not only that, the Baylor defense will shut down the Oklahoma State run game from the running backs. This game is going to be close, but in the end, Baylor should win this game. And the thing is, here's another interesting stat. Spencer Sanders, the starting quarterback for Oklahoma State, he's thrown 32 career interceptions, 32 of them, 10 of those against Baylor alone in 4 games. And that's not even mentioning 2 fumbles. So, the next game I'm going to discuss is Michigan versus at Iowa. Iowa's not a great offense. Michigan survived. This is a trap game to me. Michigan is favored by a 9.5. I think Michigan wins outright. Though, it could be closer. Ole Miss versus Kentucky. Both teams are 4-0. Defensive edge goes to Kentucky, but the offensive edge goes to Ole Miss, in my opinion. I just think somehow Ole Miss pulls off the upset here. And they're favored by 4 points. This is going to be 7 points or less either way. I don't see a blowout here. Oklahoma at TCU. Oklahoma's favored by 5 points. Oklahoma better watch out. This TCU team could score points just like Oklahoma could. I know defensively, supposedly based on the numbers, Oklahoma owns the edge, but they have not played against real opponents prior to last night for Oklahoma. And they do allow 157.5 rushing yards per game. That's a problem because TCU averages 215.3 rushing yards per game. And granted, I know they have not played against any good defenses either. So either way, it's a wash on the stats. But I'm picking Oklahoma, but it may be a field goal or a touchdown or less. And there's no easy teams in the Big 12 anymore. Purdue at number 21, Minnesota. Minnesota's favored by 10. Minnesota, to me, is the best team in the Big 10 West right now. I'm picking Minnesota. number 25, Kansas State versus Texas Tech. And Texas Tech won against Texas, remember. And Kansas State's favored by 8. It's kind of similar to Oklahoma's offense in a way. I think somehow Texas Tech has a letdown game and loses to Kansas State. Because usually when you have an upset win, you're going to go down usually the next game. Usually, but not always. So give me that. Number 12, or Utah versus Oregon State. Utah's favored by 12. This is a trap game. Right here. Oregon State is coming off of a very, very, very close loss to USC. I think Utah wins though, but it may be closer than 12 points. This would have been a top 10 matchup. Alabama at number 20, Arkansas. Alabama's favored by 16.5. I'm taking Alabama, but I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be 14 points or less. So, Ohio State versus Rutgers. Sorry, Rutgers. Ohio State's going to beat you. And they're favored by 41 anyway. It's just a matter of can they cover. I mean, Penn State versus Northwestern. Penn State's a 24.5 point favorite. Penn State's not going to lose to Northwestern. Who are we kidding? Number 22, Wake Forest at number 23, Florida State. Florida State's favored by 4 points. This is going to be a close game here, but I think Florida State somehow escapes with the win at home. Number 17, Texas A&M at Mississippi State. Mississippi State's favored by one point, and Mississippi State is 3-1, just like Texas A&M. I think Mississippi State pulls out an upset here with the air raid offense they have. So I do think that's an upset to watch. Number 1, Georgia at Missouri. Georgia's favored by 28. Missouri's bad. Or Georgia's too good anyway, too. So, Georgia. Number 5, Clemson versus number 10, NC State. Clemson, I already said this game, never mind. I'm taking NC State to cover, if not pull off the upset. Number 24, Pitt versus Georgia Tech. And Georgia Tech might fire their head coach this week prior to this game. So be aware of the news on that. But I'm picking Pitt to win. They're going to win by 3 touchdowns or more. USC is going to, number 6 USC is going to play against Arizona State, who lost their head coach prior to that Utah game. USC is favored by 24. USC is going to win comfortably. 3 touchdowns, maybe 4 or 5, but we'll see. And number 13, Oregon versus Stanford. Oregon's favored by 15. Give me Oregon in this game. So now you know what I think is going to happen in all these top 25 games, as well as the College Game Day game, and where College Game Day is in my top 10, AP poll, and coaches poll. Anyways, if you like this content, hit the like and subscribe button, and I'll see you guys later. Let's get to 400 subscribers or more by the end of this year. And please be respectful in the comment section as well.